what it is, what it is, what it is. Hey, oh, it's me. Hello. Hello. Okay, I've cleaned up the board. What's your algorithm? Everybody's favorite question, yay! JK, it's not funny at all. No one even asked this question. Have you noticed that? So, let's get into it. Now, I'm not gonna ask you what is your algorithm. Maybe we'll get to that one day, but I don't need to know. I just want us to think about the algorithm a little bit differently. So, what is the algorithm? I will post the actual description here, but in my own terms, I would describe it as this. You have a device. Now this device has information on it. And the way to get the information a lot of times is for you to subscribe to this information. Now this can look like following, and on most sites it's scrolling to find videos. And then for some things it is paying for information about a certain subject. So out of all these things, the following, the subscribing, the scrolling, and the paying is the only one that actually you're taking out money for. Luckily, because we have the internet, because we have this information box in our hands at all times, we have information for free. Let's just say over here, let me take this out. Over here is the whole web. The web of the internet. Let's just say I for internet. And the web goes out in so many ways, as webs do. And all this information is connected in these awesome ways. And you can Google search something and come up with all these answers. And it is just a ball of a time and so much information. You know what else it is? Overwhelm. This is overwhelming because one little phone and one little brain over here has to try and take in this whole web of internet. So this is why we have people we follow and subscribe to and scroll through and pay for to get accurate information. But this is the thing about the algorithm, okay? The algorithm over here says, hey, we want to try and condense what you want to follow. So what it does is it takes all this information here and it is trying to funnel you to the part that you are interested in. So let's just, for instance, say you wanted to take up knitting, okay? And the part of the internet that talks about knitting is right over here. But when you're scrolling, you are looking for people that are like excited to talk about knitting and not so soft. And that will lead you to like, or I don't know how to do a thumb. Let's see if I could do it. Hey, oh yeah, you could like the people that are excited and not so calm about knitting, because that's the type of information you like to receive. So what the internet is going to do is it is going to see and use its eye to see that you like something. Now, just follow me here. I know you guys are smart and that you know what's going on. But because of this, it is now going to funnel us as much as possible to the same type of content because it sees that we liked it, all right? It knows that it's a happy, positive engagement for both of us and that it wants to show you the same stuff that you have already said that you are interested in. Now, this is a wonderful part of the internet because this gives you information fast. But the thing is that this is not all the information, okay? If this is the internet, let's just say this is the internet for just knitting, okay? I and K, internet and knitting. If you are only getting funneled this amount, what if there was information over here that you could really use and that you didn't know about? Well, if you continue to like only the things on this part of the algorithm, it is not going to likely come out and show you this information. Now, that's not impossible, right? Let's say we like something else that's over here. Well, then the weave might move you down. And what I mean by that is the algorithm might say, hey, we saw you like some things over here, so we'll give you a couple channels to this other information. So this is great. And then let's say you like something over here in the algorithm. Well, you might be able to find more information that's like that until you like it so much, or you like different things so much that it eventually gets you to that information that you've been waiting to hear or that you didn't know even existed. But what if you never got to this point right here? What if you never stopped liking this one thing? So it never brought you to a new point, and then it never brought you to this information that, while you might not like the type of information it is or how it's presented, is really important for you to know about. So this is what I think happens with the algorithm. You all alone. Okay, you're alone, you're watching the news, you're liking what you like, you're Xing out the stuff you don't want to see, you're getting stressed and heightened if you see something that you don't like, which would make you sad, and likely you are just going to scroll past that real quick so that you don't have to see it anymore, okay? Because you don't like that shit, and I get it. But what this does is this leads you to very specific type of news, and only sometimes one type of news. And then let's say you're online a lot, okay? And I think everybody's use is different, and I think everybody's time on the internet is used in different ways. So I spend a lot of time on the internet, but I'm reading a lot, I realized. But I'm also relaxing, you know, I'm looking at silly videos, and there's nothing wrong with either of those things. But I think what happens is some of us are on the phone just for entertainment, and other people are online just for, let's say, politics. Because hello, you're here right now, politics, okay? And then some people are on there for both. Some people are on there for business. But there's a lot of people that kind of mix these three together. What happens when you keep on liking and disliking things and only having an algorithm that goes like, whoa, to one spot? Well, what happens is you start living in a box. And within this box, there might be plenty of things, right? You might get a news person that's kind of over here, in the zeitgeist of your type of news, and then you might get someone over here on the other end of that spectrum, and you're like, wow, look at that. There's so many different viewpoints I'm saying. Oh, look, there's even something in that corner, and then someone else expressing themselves in this corner. Well, I'm getting a ton of news right now. But what if everybody has a box? What if neighbor A and neighbor B could also see what your box was? I want you to think about this for a second. If this neighbor could visually see what's in your box, and this neighbor could also see what's visually in this box, and then let's go even further. Let's say that you, all right, as the third friend over here, could see your neighbor's box too. That's a wonky box. That's more of a rectangle. I digress. We're gonna give this lady an actual box. How about that? Yeah. All right, lady with a box. All right. And let's say the news looks different in every corner. What would people be seeing if your news box was above your head? What would they see? It's something that we don't want to talk about, right? I have asked actually a ton of people, what is YouTube like for you? Because I realize that at parties, I will talk about my Instagram use and my friends will talk about just being on the internet in general. But a lot of people do not actually talk to their friends on YouTube. They are looking at certain information, politics, stuff for their business, things to learn with, deep dives on stuff. There's just so much information on YouTube, but we very less often talk to our circle on there. So the reason why I'm interested in YouTube specifically is because I love talking about YouTube, but no one else seemed to want to. And I find that fascinating because I think it would tell a lot of us what people have in their box. I wonder what people would be like if they knew that their information source was going to be shared with everybody else. And I do not believe in going through your algorithm and making you illegally show us everything, right? That's your business. But I think it is worth thinking about, hey, I have a box, but this neighbor has a box that's just as big as mine. And I have a neighbor over here that has a box that's even bigger than mine maybe, but has a lot of different stuff in it. And this is what's in our minds, really, is you have information, I have information, and this guy over here that looks like he's wearing a bike helmet has information also. Let's just give him an ear. A good thing he is being safe on the road before he goes biking. But yeah, so this little helmet man has different information than this main guy. So we're gonna move on to the next part. Hold on now.